can you hear me?
Yes, we are
Okay.
live. We are live.
Okay, cool. I think we can let them in, right?
Actually, I am just gonna finish tidying up the data here for the research results. I mean,
Okay.
for everyone who's on YouTube, thanks for watching. We're just setting up behind the scenes.
We're not live yet on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we are. We are.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm still seeing.
It's
Right now, it's still only just a banner.
Yeah, it is because
okay.
we're just hiding the behind the scenes process.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do the grand reveal in a minute. All right. I think we're ready. Let me just set up my sticky notes here. All right, this is exciting. We're moving on. Let's do the grand big reveal. Let's do it. So, let's see where our guests are. Okay, you can let them in, Claire, while I handle the stream.
Okay.
Woo! Nice reveal. Oh wait, do we have the agenda set?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. So I'll start the agenda when we're ready. Hello everyone, welcome! Hope the music isn't too loud. Uh-oh. Something's gone wrong on the stream. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Hello, Nicole, Mandy, and Sunny. Feel free to take a look around on the mural board and get yourself familiar with. And we'll start the icebreaker game shortly.
All right, can you hear me okay? If you're new to Butter, great thing about it is if you want to be able to react and respond, you can send us a thumbs up. Yep. So
Mhm.
we have a thumbs up from Sunny.
We have another one.
Okay, cool. Seems like everyone's here with us. Great, thank you. Thank you for being here. This is design sprint number 12. It's repeat from our other design sprint that we had earlier this year. So we're repeating this topic again for those of you who have missed out. Just a quick, brief introduction. For those of you that are not familiar with the Collective Studio, we're a community that's based around design sprints. So we host these events to help you develop your design thinking skills, your critical thinking skills. You can learn to brainstorm and come up with solutions and sketches towards building a prototype. And we're pretty happy that we're almost up to 2,000 members. So round of applause for us. We're growing as a community. We're helping so many people to discover these types of events. And another thing that's really cool is we're live streaming this session on YouTube. So for those that are watching, we have a bunch of great a bunch of great videos on our channel. You can learn how to prototype. We have professional guest UX designers that kind of lead these types of videos. So be sure to subscribe to us and follow us if you want to find more content like that. Now we can move on to introducing facilitators. So for those of you who know me, hi, I'm Chocolatto from the Discord server. I'm also the co-founder of the Collective Studio, and professionally, I'm also a freelance graphic designer, and I also do a bit of freelance UX design as well. If you want to follow me, my LinkedIn link is right here on this mural board slide. And Claire, do you want to introduce yourself very quickly?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Claire. I'm co-founder of the Collective Studio. Also a UX designer at American Express. So welcome all of you. I've been doing UX design for about a year and a half to close to 2 years. So it's been a very fun and humbling journey. So please feel free to join our Discord server and reach out to me if you have any questions and follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn if you want to get more tips on UX design and to see more updates of my career journey.
Mm-hmm. And we are moving on to the icebreaker. Let's do that first before we jump into the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that we get a little bit familiar with the mural functions, we have a little icebreaker challenge for you all, which is called 3 Interesting Facts About Yourself. So you're going to create a Suedo dating profile. How do you do that? All you have to do is upload an image of yourself. And if you don't know how to do that, on Miro, you could go to these little buttons here. It's like a little down button. Click on that, and you should be able to find the upload button from there, from the side panel menu. And once you click on that, you go to My Device. You click on it, search for an image, and then you drop your photo down. Once you've done that, you can actually crop it and fit it to frame. We'll show you a neat trick of how to control layers. But for now, we'll just task you with placing a photo within the frame here. And then on the sticky notes, just add some information about yourself. Just 3 interesting facts. You could talk about where you're from. You could also put your name and age if you want to. You could also maybe state some interesting facts about yourself, something that you do, a special talent, or whatever great news is happening this week. So we're going to set the timer for this. It's a timed activity. So we will try our best to stay within the time, but keep in mind once we go over time, we'll have to move on. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, cool. It seems like we might have lost someone. Was there another person here?
Yeah, I think OK left. That was
Oh,
the
okay.
yeah. But
Maybe
we
they'll
still have
come back.
Nicole, Sunny, and Mandy. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hmm. Maybe I should play some music. Just
Yep, go for it.
yeah, yeah. By the way, if the music is a bit too loud, you could find the music panel right in the center of the screen at the bottom. You just click the pop up and you can change your audio settings there. And if you're done, I guess if we're done, I guess we could yeah, let's jump into it. Even if you're not done, we'll give you some moments to mentally think about what you want to write. But I'll just start off by okay, so I'll look at Nicole's sticky notes. So Nicole, hi, nice to meet you. You're from Montana. You left your job to become a UX designer this year. That must be a risky undertaking. Uh, how does it feel? How are you enjoying it? Have you transitioned successfully, or are you still learning UX? By the way, if you're able to unmute, it's very simple. You just double click on your screen name, and you could select unmute. If you haven't set up audio settings, then I think you have to go to where do they have to go to, Claire, to change their audio settings. Oh yeah, the little gear at the
I think
top.
yeah,
Yeah,
or they might have to. You might have to reconnect again just to give
yeah.
permission because this is from the
Okay, it seems like we have a
technology.
chat message from Nicole.
Yeah.
She said she clicked on mute, but she will check her audio settings right now. Okay, cool,
Okay.
great. In the meantime, I will have a look at okay, the sticky note here. In your past life, you traveled to countries like Afghanistan for work. Oh, okay. So that must have been your former job? We'll get back to Nicole when she has her audio back. So I'll move on to the next person. We have Mandy. She's from Providence, Rhode Island. Loves biking. Switching careers from interior design to UX and UI. That's interesting. So how come you decided to switch to UX and UI from interior design?
Hey, um, let's see. I wanted to work from home, and there's more opportunity in tech, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's
Yeah, and
also
I love tech, so I figured I would just switch now.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then we have D from Dallas, Texas. Uh, that's pretty cool because my mom lives in San Antonio. I've been to Montgomery, Texas, so I've never been to Dallas, but I've been around the Houston area. Texas is huge. And you're currently a teacher. Okay, that's interesting. I think I've seen you around on the design server. So, yes, thank you and welcome. If you're still setting up your audio, now's a good time to set that up. We'll just move on to Claire's sticky notes. Born and raised in HK, currently reside in the New York NYC area. Actually, Claire, you could speak for this one. This one's about you.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually born and raised in Hong Kong, and I moved to the US when I was 12, and now I live near New York City. So it's been an interesting experience living near big cities like that.
Mhm.
But the UX scene in New York City is pretty big. There are lots of companies, fintech, health tech,
Mm.
lots of startups.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a different environment in my opinion, but it's
Mhm.
awesome. I love traveling with friends or by myself. Recently went to Portugal in April with a friend
Mhm.
and had a blast. It's been so long since we traveled because of COVID.
Yeah.
And the last one is just a really random thing that I did. When I did a solo traveling to Japan, I went to a haunted house by myself, and it was very scary experience, but it was fun. So that's like the three interesting facts about me.
Yeah. And I have my three interesting facts. They're not the most interesting, but they are facts. I'm from Toronto, Canada. One interesting fact about me is I've never lost my keys, wallet, or phone ever. I need to know where things are all the time. It is crazy. And I've also fallen out of a moving car as a baby. So those are my three crazy life facts. Yeah, and then we have a giggle from Sunny. Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. We have a small turnout this time around, so hopefully we will stick with the same group and more of you will be here for next week. I guess we could end the icebreaker activity early and jump into our next activity, which is, well, not quite yet. We're just going to introduce the challenge, actually. So let's just move the agenda forward and to introduce the challenge. And of course, the topic is all about dating apps and ghosting, right? So, how many of you have been ghosted before? Just a quick reaction would be okay. Like a thumbs up if you've been ghosted, a thumbs down if you haven't. Okay, so almost everyone except Nicole. Nicole, you're lucky. You have not been ghosted. Uh, or maybe there's a reason behind it. Perhaps you are in a relationship. I'm not sure. But congratulations for not being ghosted. How many of you have actually ghosted someone on a date? Yes, that's like everyone. I'm pretty sure everyone can relate with this. So ghosting is pretty prevalent, right? All of us, we have experienced ghosting or we have ghosted someone even by accident. Um, it's tricky, it's notorious, and digital technology is making it easier for people to just leave people on read, right? So why did we pick this topic? We picked this topic because I noticed, especially online and from my friends, that uh, ghosting is really quite common, and it's also quite like harmful to mental health. So looking into this topic a little bit deeply, I looked at some articles, some scientific studies, and it turns out that actually dating app usage does increase negative feelings as well as psychological distress in users. So this could be a reason why. It could be down to the way that dating algorithms work. Sometimes people are forced to pay for subscriptions to have access to more matches so that they have more chances to meet people. Other times people can't pay or afford those kind of fancy premium features, and they may be stuck with, the same small amount of people that they're allowed to see and engage with on a dating app. So the dating app experience is, profitable, and companies are definitely making loads of money, making sure that you're single so that you'll spend money to find that special person. So yeah, another neat factoid that we discovered is since the start of the pandemic, there has been a 20% increase in romantic scams from 2021, with 18.5 billion pounds, which is 23 million US dollars, lost to scammers. So this is also a huge issue. It may not be to do with ghosting, but it is sort of like ghosting because you're trying to meet someone and they're never going to meet you, or you find out that they're in another country, or they say that they're in the same state but they don't want to see you. Sometimes people will lose money even on trying to chase a prospect with a promise of like romance and Tash, and it just never happens, right? So yeah, let's just move on to the dating uh, research results. So basically, between me and Claire, we run surveys to collect data from users everywhere on the internet, not just our friends, but we actually posted a link to this forum on Reddit. We shared this form on Survey Swap, so we had a wide variety of responses, right? And what we were trying to figure out was how people act and react when they're being ghosted, as well as what are their preferences when it comes to searching for people. We thought at the beginning of this that perhaps ghosting is made possible because dating apps forces people to make very, very specific choices on who they're going to spend time with. And because there's so much choice, the users are being overwhelmed with so much choice. So that they end up just, swiping left, swiping right on some people that are vaguely interesting with no real intention of like carrying on a conversation. And it could be to do with some kind of like overload, or perhaps the app features are being a hindrance to that. So we did the survey. We had, I think, how many people took the survey? I think 30. Let me check. I think there was like 36 answers, I believe. If not, we could always double check by clicking on this link. If you have extra time and you're interested to know all the results, you could click on this link. You'll see a summary of the questions that we asked, as well as some of the, um, what do you call it? Some infographics as well. So the most interesting pieces of data that we picked from this survey was the behaviors, right? So 64% of the people that we surveyed are heavy users. They use dating apps frequently. So if you're trying to find a match, it's quite obvious, at least from the onset, that you're going to be using it frequently to communicate, right? 72% of the people who took our survey were ghosted on the app itself. Uh, this is interesting to know because when it comes to ghosting, there's not much that a dating app could do if you've been ghosted after you've met someone. So after you uh, get in contact with someone, they give you their phone number, and you decide to meet. After that point, you don't need the app anymore, and the ghosting could still happen. But the ghosting that does happen most frequently is usually through the app, and that's something that could be a solvable problem, right? 30% of singles often forget to reply to a potential match. So this is something that happens frequently, that people will ghost someone because they're just simply not interested, conversation's not flowing, and there's just no polite way of ending the conversation, so it's just left unread, which is usually the experience that we all can relate with. When it comes to emotions, we asked people on our survey to describe emotions before and after, and we got an interesting effect, which was a lot of the emotions that were expressed when a user was ghosting someone else tends to be a mix of positive and negative. So a lot of people were submitting in the survey that they felt relieved, uplifted, content when they're ghosting someone. Other times they feel negative emotions like guilt and shame. And another 40% said that they were indifferent. So being indifferent and guilty, those are all kind of negative things. And this is kind of what makes people feel like, okay, I don't want to ghost, but I don't want to feel bad about it. So maybe that's also a solvable area for our users as well. However, when it came to being ghosted, more survey takers agreed that they were sad in her. About 37.5% felt sad in her. It was very negative. So I noticed a contrast between those two questions is that users who have been ghosted uh, would be taking that experience very, very badly, but the people on the other side, if they were ghosting someone else, they tend to not care or not weigh the emotion so much. However, at the end of the day, singles that need an app, they need an app that's usable, and it's mostly for communication. If you look at our survey, we actually did do a Likert scale of the types of features that users are looking for in dating apps. And most of the features that we recommended were voted as not useful to them. So we didn't have a chance to interview the survey takers, so obviously we don't know everything. But this is what we covered with user research so far, which will kind of help us to um, build a solution for users that have this issue. Does anyone have any questions about the survey or any of the data that we found? Nope.
Okay, I guess not. Yeah. Give us a thumbs up if you're okay before we move on to the next part.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
very good. All right, so let's jump ahead and start our first activity here. 37. Oh, yeah, Sunny says 37 doesn't seem high. Um, the thing is, we do have like a collection of answers. We have like a pie chart that actually displays all the range of emotions. So if you check it out on your own time, you'll be able to see a summary of all the answers that our users have selected. So on to the next part. It's define the problem. So we're going to go through as a team and brainstorm what we think the problem is. So, based on the data that we have, that gives us an idea. However, if you have some assumptions and ideas of your own, we could also brainstorm it together and, as a team, vote for the best sticky note, and that will help us to formulate a new hypothesis or assumption to lead with when building a prototype. Okay? So we have sticky notes down here. We'll alternate the colors so it doesn't get confusing. We'll start with pink first. So in our own time, let's just say 1 minute, we are going to answer this prompt here that says, why are singles getting ghosted? Why why does ghosting matter? You know, or why do people ghost? Let's have an answer for that. Just grab a sticky note. You could type down your answer, and we'll give you just 1 minute to do that.
Yeah, let me just start the 1 minute timer for you.
Yeah, yeah. And we're gonna alternate colors. So we're gonna start with pink first, and then blue, so that we don't mix up the answers.
Okay, 1 minute is up.
Okay, cool. Should we just move on to the next section and then take it up all together, Claire?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do that.
Okay, cool. So the next one, we're gonna do the blue sticky notes, and we're gonna answer the prompt. What are singles struggling with on dating apps? Like, what is a big problem for them when it comes to communicating and ghosting people on dating apps?
Okay, again, 1 minute on the timer.
Okay, has that been a minute so far? I think we're pretty
Yeah.
much ready here. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, so let's move on to the next one. We'll do pink again. So we're answering the prompt. When do singles usually get ghosted, or when does this happen? Maybe there's
Okay.
other things besides what we discussed in the survey results. Ready? Go.
Okay, 1 minute is up.
Okay. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to be asking, well, we're going to be answering the prompt how can singles avoid being ghosted or ghosting others? So we'll give you 1 minute and let's go.
Okay, 1 minute, it's up.
Okay, this is pretty good. And again, we have a small team, so obviously we're going to have fewer stickies, but these are great ideas so far. Thank you so much. Let's just start going section by section. We'll discuss the sticky notes, and then we will do a emoji vote. So Claire, if you want to help me out, can you maybe like copy and paste a few
Hmm.
emojis that we could use?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so why are singles getting ghosted or ghosting? Lazy. That's one way to say it. Don't want to hurt people's feelings, too shy, too nervous to keep a conversation, fear of conflict. It's easy. It is easy. It's probably more easy than it used to be before internet dating. I'm pretty sure, let's just say, ghosting existed in the 90s, just it wasn't so easy to do. But you're right, it's become way more convenient. Bored or distracted by their opinions. Yeah, sometimes the conversation itself, the context of the conversation could be boring. Like sometimes people think, oh, they look, attractive. This person might be like interesting. And then you find out, oh, they're so boring. I don't want to talk to them anymore. And it seems kind of rude to just, you know, pull the plug and say goodbye. It's so hard, right? But at the end of the day, like when people do get ghosted, they do feel really hurt, and sometimes it could be really bad on the mental health. So we need to find a way to mitigate that. Now that we have our sticky notes all out, let's consolidate some sticky notes that are pretty much the same idea. So fear of conflict. This one here, don't want to hurt people's feelings. It they seem like they're similar, but I think they're different. Too shy to keep the conversation forward. You know what? I think these are all kind of like standalone like ideas. I don't think they overlap. Since we have such a small group, it's likely that we'll have
Mhm.
all different ideas. So I guess what we can do right now is to do emoji vote. So how many of us are here, Claire? Is it
It's only five of us.
five of
Yeah.
us? Okay, wow. Okay. So let's vote once for the best idea that we think is good. If we can't decide, then we'll do the runner up, and then we'll do another vote until we decide. Okay? So let's just pick up a emoji and vote for a sticky note that we think is the most compelling answer. Right, and I have to vote. I'm gonna vote for this one.
Okay.
Okay, that's all of us. So I think fear of conflict is the winner here. We'll put it up here, and we'll move on to the next section. What are singles struggling to do on these dating apps? Like, is this an issue with the app itself, how it functions, the UI, the features? And here's what we said: replying to messages. Who made this sticky note? If you're able to use the chat, just let us know. Oh, you think you did, Nicole? Okay. Just kind of wondering, what did you mean by replying to messages? Like, what is the problem with the message sending or writing? Oh, forgetting that they're there. Okay, so this one would be uh, forgetting to reply to messages. Okay, I get it. Um, and then this one here, it says paywall to see new matches. So I made that one. That's often like a pain point, especially when users don't have a lot of money and they don't really want to spend it on a dating app subscription. They feel like they're forced to select less effective matches or less interesting matches because of this. However, when it comes to dating, we know that the more picky you are, the harder it is to also get matched because, to be very honest, love can happen anywhere to anyone, and you don't want to limit your choices, right? And this one here, it says keep conversation flowing. That could be a problem. Can't follow up on notifications. It's just too many. So I made this one because I've had my own personal experience using Hinge, and I also have other dating apps installed on my phone. So I have a profile on more than one dating app, and I have Snapchat. And if I'm talking to too many people at once, even if it's just friends, I just forget about my dating matches. So I feel bad about it. Like, I don't mean to ghost anyone. I don't have the intentions of doing that. But I think it's just down to the fact that if you're a user and you have many applications on your phone and they're all sending out push notifications, it's easy to just start to like ignore them, and it becomes like a blur, right? I think on iOS you could prioritize your notifications. I know it's a new feature because like my iPad, my iPhone is like updated and notifications look different. And this sticky note here says keeping interested in one person when there's a sea of many. Absolutely, there's plenty of fish in the sea. And I think with that mentality, people are not sticking to their choices so much because there's always someone better. So if you have the mentality of, oh, there's always someone better, then the moment that you meet someone and the spark fades, you just move on. But sometimes that is the best way, the best strategy for people to move on is to just keep moving forward. But then it also leads to ghosting. So let's just vote for what we think is the most compelling sticky note here. So let's just take a star and select a sticky note that we think is like the most likely uh, problem or that the users are facing.
We have a clear winner here.
Yep.
All right, I'll make okay.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Next one is when. When is this happening? This ghosting. The other person finds another match. I think I also made another sticky note like that. When someone oh yeah, I've written this one. This says when someone discloses something weird to them. So I think this is also when it might happen is when you're in conversation, and then someone says something that made you personally feel threatened, or um, you just felt weirded out or uncomfortable, right? So it could happen. Ghosting can happen when you're uncomfortable. Like it's a way to protect yourself from harm. Um, this one here, it says there is a better match. So that's also the same as find another person. So we'll consolidate these two sticky notes because they're the same idea. Right before a date, when user realizes incompatibility. Yeah, that could happen. When one party is not interested. Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing with the conversation not flowing, not interesting. They get bored with the conversation. Um, would you say that that's part of the same group? I mean, bored, interest, it's pretty much the same thing, right? You're not stimulated. So I put that in the same category. Okay, and let's begin emoji voting. Whatever group that you think is the most compelling wins. Okay, so one, two, three, four, five. Okay, so this one has won the boring party. I'm always curious, like what makes someone interesting?
I think that sticky part just means like when one party is not interested. I think
Hmm.
like not interested in the person.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm also kind of curious what makes a person interesting.
At
I guess
least
like
like,
have
oh, you
good,
go.
good I don't know, like have good call. I don't know, like not boring. Have like emotional maturity. The list can goes on. You know, there
Yeah.
are a lot of boring men out there, even despite being in New York City area. I'll be very honest about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Just when people kind of have more like authentic responses and actually kind of want to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. I really hate it when people are sort of like, they just say yes to everything you just say. They're just like, I agree, I agree. It's like, but do you have opinions? Like, don't just agree with everything I say. Have opinions. I know that would bore me as well. Um, right. So let's go into the next section on how. So how are we going to mitigate this? How are we going to solve this problem? So we have a bunch of sticky notes here with some ideas. Prompts. Obviously pop up. I mean, I don't know if this is obvious. Actually, who made this sticky note? Maybe we can find out from them. Um, if you're able to use the chat, feel free to use the chat if you want to elaborate more on what you mean by prompts, just so that we have like a firm understanding. And this sticky note here, it says having a timed response when someone does not reply. Okay. Saying when they're not interested. Of course, honesty is the best policy, isn't it? Staying safe and secure is a sticky note I made. Um, so, obviously, when people are disclosing that they're no longer interested, I think one of their main fears is that they fear retaliation. And I think this is more felt with women, more so with men. Um, and again, the experience of rejection from men and women, they kind of differ. That's something that you won't be able to see in the survey results as a summary, but we could show you the spreadsheet for that, and then you can actually have a look at the data yourself and see the comparison. But this is something that I noticed is true for women and men. They want to be safe when they disclose they're not interested. Reminders to reply. So that's also useful. Auto reply, send when not interested. Yeah, this is something interesting. I forgot to mention this in the intro, but Match Inc., which is like the largest dating profile or sorry dating app company, they have platforms all over the place. They own Plenty of Fish. I think they also own OkCupid, um, and also Match.com. They have been doing studies, like user studies, on how to mitigate ghosting, and they actually came up with some app features that help to solve that problem. So this is a problem that is actually being, resolved right now. So this is a real thing. But it's interesting though because when it comes to auto replies, one thing that interesting that Match was trying to do was test out users and their new kind of like user flow when it comes to sending out messages and sending out rejections. So after a certain period of time, they'll get a prompt on the screen asking the user to make a decision, like, do you really want to talk to this person? Do you want them to go away? Then they make a form response. So they just pick on radio buttons with a particular answer about whether or not they're going to move on with the conversation. And the app will actually tell the person that, this user has decided, to close the conversation, right? And they would introduce new matches to them as a result, right? So it's an interesting thing where you don't have to type a response, you don't have to think of like a really good apology or an excuse. The app does it for you, and then you don't have to worry about this person having to stalk you and chase you on the app itself. I think there is some privacy features, so you don't have to share your social media, you know, or anything like that on the app. But yeah, they're still testing it, and have been trying to find articles on it about whether it's been successful or not. But it would be really interesting if they actually launch this like worldwide, like we could all see these features. Anywho, enough of my rambling. I guess we could start voting for the most compelling sticky note. So let's get to it. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, this one's got three. So prompts is the winner. And just to clarify, when we mean prompts, do we mean on-screen prompts within the app, or are we talking about notification prompts? Okay, so I don't know who made this sticky note, but we'll just assume it's prompts in app because I think that makes the most sense. Okay, so what we've done here is basically come up with a an idea of what kind of product we're going to be making, who it's for. So we have the user that in mind, and also thinking about the user at the end of it, like what kind of product are they using? What's it going to help them to do, right? So here we have fear of conflict, keeping interested in one person in a sea of many when one person is not interested through prompts. So we could actually formulate this into a hypothesis that actually is like a conscious kind of or coherent sentence. So we could rephrase this as we believe users who fear conflict. Let's just describe that as the user. The user is one that fears conflict. And I'll make this longer. We'll want a product, and the what should answer this ad lib here for our hypothesis. So it says here, we believe users who fear conflict will want a blank. We believe users who fear conflict will want a product that will help them to keep them interested in the person. Maybe we could think about it that way. I don't know what you think, Claire, but I think that would be a good way of rephrasing that sticky note because it's to do
Yeah,
with
I was thinking of
interest.
that.
Yeah.
Interest in.
Staying interested in a match that will um
Do you think interest is the right word here, or we want to try to
hmm
keep them engaged? I'm just thinking.
yeah, let's say let's help them to keep them engaged. Okay, keep
Y-
them engaged.
Yeah, yeah, I agree too. I agree with Nicole. She said, yeah, can't force interest, but we can keep them engaged.
Yeah, yeah. Of
Yeah.
course. And a match that will how can we rephrase this one? When one party is not interested. How can we rephrase that as a when scenario? I guess keep them engaged when they start to get bored, right? So obviously these words are not
I guess
like
like
yeah,
when they are losing interest.
yeah. Okay, so we believe users who fear conflict will want a dating app that will keep them engaged in a match when they're losing interest by uh, delivering prompts, right? So they need prompts.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to mitigate ghosting like this. This is our hypothesis based on what we voted on as sticky notes, and we've rephrased this as a sentence. So obviously, not everything is going to be fitting within structure. Like I have little tags to say, hey, we should insert like this sticky note here. Obviously, it doesn't make sense, so we have to rewrite these things. But this is what we boiled it down to. So we believe users who fear conflict will want to stay engaged, when they're losing interest, and we're going to help them to stay engaged through on screen prompts. When it comes to ghosting, though, it could be a question of whether the prompts itself could also be related to, ending the conversation in a more kinder way. So we could always think about exploring how that can happen. But for now, this is what our hypothesis will be, and this will drive us towards building our first wireframe. And also, this is a good idea to even practice testing out your sketches or your wireframe at the end of week 3. If you decide after week 3 that you want to improve your design, you're welcome to definitely do your own kind of survey and have people review your screens and give you feedback on that, because that's going to help you to figure out whether or not your solutions are actually usable and also if it works. I think that's it for this activity. We're a little bit early,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll just leave it there. Do we have any questions about what we just did? Or if something doesn't make sense, just ask us and we'll clarify it for you. Or a thumbs up if you're good. Yes, we're good. Awesome. I hear, is that a toothbrush in the background? I hear like a vibrating toothbrush or a fan. I'm not sure. Oh, it was you, Claire. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it was my computer. Sorry.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Sometimes my computer fan is like really loud. Okay, so now we have a break for 10 minutes. Or maybe we could shorten it and just do like a 5-minute break cuz I know we were a little bit late. So let's do 5 minutes. I'm just going to change the timer to 5 minutes so that we could just have a little rest. Okay? I'm going to play some music. And yeah, we'll see you back in 5 minutes. Okay, so it's about 5 minutes. Is everyone here? Just give me a thumbs up if you're here. Okay, so we heard back from Claire, we heard back from Sunny, Mandy. Is Nicole here? All right. Well, we're gonna move on to the next step. When Nicole joins us, we'll welcome her back. But we'll just move on to the next part of our agenda, which is reverse brainstorming. So, what is reverse brainstorming or opposite thinking? It's sort of like what the name suggests. You're brainstorming ideas, but then you're also brainstorming problems. This kind of helps us to think, I guess, more critically about the solutions that we're providing based on our assumptions. And the way that we could do this is to go through step by step, sticky note by sticky note, a trail of our thoughts until we formulate a pretty good solution to our problems that will counteract anything negative that might come from it. So, for example, in this section here, this column of assumptions, I put a sticky note here, which is an assumption that I have about users. So, I believe that users who are single don't like being ghosted. It's very negative and it's a bad experience for them. And in this column here, which is the opposites, we need to come up with a sticky note idea that is opposing this assumption. So instead of believing users don't want to be ghosted, what if users actually like to ghost? Or they actually like being ghosted? Maybe getting that straightforward confirmation that a date is not happening is totally fine for some people. So when it comes to that, after we move on from that point, we go to the next column, which is solutions. And in the solutions, we're going to discuss how we can resolve the opposite. So if users want to ghost, how can we make that like something that is not going to be a problem? Like how can we solve that problem of people ghosting if they want to ghost? Uh, and we'll have to provide an answer here. So this is a green sticky note. It doesn't have an answer. It's just basically instructions for this demo, just to demonstrate where our path of ideas are coming from. So when we focus on these sticky notes, we'll color code them so that we don't get too confused on what we're focused on. But in the green column, we're addressing the red sticky notes and trying to figure out how can we make ghosting easier for people, right? Which sounds crazy because it's like, well, we're here trying to stop ghosting. Why would we encourage it? Well, this is the whole point of opposite thinking. We need to think about things in reverse, come up with a solution to that problem. And then on the next column, we have think again, which is how might this solution fail? So this is in relation to the opposite sticky note that we started off with. If we assume people like to ghost and we need to find a safer way for them to do that, how might this solution fail? Why won't this solution work? Right? Think about possible problems that could happen if this feature was allowed. Maybe there would be more damages done. Maybe more people will be getting heartbroken because there's people out there being allowed to ghost as much as possible. And then there's another sticky note here that is to provide a solution to the think again column. So this blue sticky note is the solution to the yellow one here. So what we're trying to think about is all the problems that we came up with the other solution. Be like, how can we resolve it? How can we fix this idea so that it's bulletproof? It will definitely work, or most likely work. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions so far about this particular exercise or the steps? Some curious faces. Yeah, so it does sound like a little bit like weird, but it will make more sense once we go through it all. So let's start off with our first assumption. And considering what I said about the opposites here, let's start on the green sticky note and think about how we can resolve this problem of people wanting to ghost. If they want to do it, they might have an incentive to do it. They might need this as a feature. So, how are we going to either mitigate ghosting or help people to ghost ethically, so to speak, uh, from looking at this sticky note here? Do we have any ideas? Feel free to shout out an answer, and I could just write down some ideas as we're discussing it. So this is a case where you can totally unmute your mic and we could discuss ideas.
I guess if you're like trying to encourage it, you would just keep it as it is, right? Maybe.
Yeah, okay. That is a pretty good idea. So, like, keep things the way that they are. And I'm going to leave some more space for other ideas so that we could potentially, you know, summarize like a pretty good statement that captures both of those ideas. So I'm just writing down ideas as I hear it, and I'll rewrite it and rephrase it to fit on one sticky note. So we could keep things the way that they are, because that is a good point. Because what if people actually do like dating apps the way that they are, and they like to be able to ghost people without, repercussions? Then keeping things the way that they are would be desirable to users who want to ghost. Now, are there other ideas? Okay, so Nicole says in the chat, create messages or icons to send that say, I'm ghosting you in a humorous way. Okay, send a message to that person like, "Hi, you're a ghost now." All right.
I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
But I think we can maybe think of it in a way that's more like because this is a very specific product feature. Maybe you could think of it like an overall system. Because
Mhm.
it's not. I think sometimes we jump directly straight into like a specific solution that's something, and then you can become biased about it. So we can take a look at a
Well,
more macro level.
yeah, well, that's the whole point of this exercise is to get all those ideas out and then think about the contradictions to it as well,
Hmm.
right? So all these solutions that we're coming up with, we might have to think about how they're going to fail, right? And that's what we're going to do in the next column. And then in the other column, we'll be providing innovative solutions. So we'll think about even a better idea than what we just come up as solutions. So you're right, there is some bias. However, to reduce that bias, we're also going to think the opposite and consider that all these ideas that we have as solutions could potentially fail. So we have two sticky notes here. One sending a message, or like it's sort of like a canned response, right? So sort of like a auto response. Do you have any ideas, Claire?
I think I'm trying to understand that message. Is it like, let's say if there's no response from each party for extended period of time, and then the system will generate a message to let each person know that they're getting ghosted.
Uh, Are you referring to Nicole's idea?
Mm-hmm. It's the yeah, it's oh that's the one that she just wrote in the chat. I think I'm a bit confused.
Yeah. So I want to know what the question is. Like, okay, so Nicole
Oh,
says,
okay. So you okay, I understand now. I'm just looking at her message again.
okay. If that's it, if that's all that we have for now, we'll keep these two sticky notes as solutions. We'll have more time to figure out some other assumptions and go down the rest of this exercise. So let's also think again. These two solutions that we've come up with, keeping things the way that they are, auto message to the person that they decide to ghost you in the most hilarious fashion. Um, how might these solutions fail? So for me, I have an idea right away. I think I think people would get their feelings hurt. Like the person that you're rejecting would feel like they're being made fun of, right? Could really hurt the feelings of rejected matches
I
if
was
they
kind
get a
of
little.
thinking about that earlier. Like, is there a difference between like ghosting and getting rejected? Because like no one likes the feeling of getting rejected
Yeah,
either.
there's so many different ways to go about it, and almost
Mhm.
everyone that I've spoken to, they all have different opinions. Some people
Gotcha.
say they would rather be ghosted than to be told to their face that they've been rejected or that they're not wanted, right? So it could hurt people's feelings a lot, right?
Mhm.
Um, but then sometimes people do appreciate honesty, especially if the person came on strong and it looked like everything was going well. Sometimes people can pick up these signals and think, wow, this person is really in love with me. And then you find out, oh no, it was just an illusion. It's really upsetting, right? Other times, if you could find the flaws, like you find out that the person, just didn't have the same interests, you live in a different city than them. Sometimes it adds up and it's like, okay, they ghosted you because of all these problems that you noticed. So sometimes people, they could process ghosting, you know, a bit better than others. However, it does cause mental distress, so there's got to be a way to like make it easier to reject but also easier to disclose but not have to hurt someone's feelings as much. I don't know how to do it, but we're figuring that out now. Um, so what could go wrong if we keep things the way that they are?
Like there's no solution because if we're
Yeah,
just keeping things, yeah.
yeah. So people continue ghosting and hurting relationships, or just hurting people in general. Okay, so we're back to square one, right? So rejection makes people feel hurt, um, and continuing ghosting will continue more hurt relationships or hurting people. So how can we innovate these solutions, right? Or like we know our solutions could potentially fail, but how can we innovate this? I made a mistake with the yellow sticky note problem because these are the problems here, and I made it sound like it was a solution. So these are the problems here, these two sticky notes. Um, what we're trying to rephrase here is what is the solution to uh, ghosting and hurting people and protecting people's feelings? Like, how can we protect people's feelings on dating apps? Immediately redirect ghosties to a higher quality match. That's interesting. Yeah. I forgot. Redirect person to higher quality match. Yeah, because that's one thing that people might have an issue with is starting from square one. I know some of my male friends that have used Hinge, they've been ghosted repeatedly, but that feeling of like, oh, I have to start building up a connection with someone again and they have to go looking, that's the feeling that people have that is like maybe a pain point. Maybe if we provided them with another person that they can immediately talk to or say, hey, this person sent you a rose or sent you a like why not talk to them? Encourage users to keep moving on. Like maybe that could be a healthier way of looking at it. Um, are
I'm
there any other
curious to
ideas?
know. Oh, I'm just curious to know about the solution. Are you thinking of in like a algorithm perspective? Because I'm just curious of like how what are your thought process of like how are you going to redirect this person to a higher quality match?
Yeah, because like with dating AI, they usually pick up keywords that you put into your profile. So the more complete your profile is, the better your match is going to be. And with OkCupid, they do this a lot with surveys. They have little quizzes and prompts, and you put in answers. And depending on how much you score with another person, you might get an 89% match with that person based on questions like, what are your values? Do you believe in religion? Are you conservative? Are you, you know, liberal? So that's how they would make that match. As for how to do it, like how to make this happen in the back end, I don't have that much knowledge about it, but from what I've learned from research, that's just generally how these matches are created. Sometimes with photographs as well, like if you tend to like people with profile pictures with tattoos, like machine learning can also analyze the images that people upload and say, hey, you're attracted to people of this ethnicity with this type of hair and with tattoos. So they start showing you more of that. Yeah, they know everything. On our resource board, there's this book called Dataclysm, and there's videos by the author. He's one of the co-founders of OkCupid, so he's had extensive experience working with this data. And yes, it's crazy. Dating apps, they track everything. So every image that you put up, they analyze it. And if you ever wonder why you're being matched with people who like the same bands and they're wearing the same kind of band t-shirts, it's probably because of the information that you're putting in. Dating apps are just
Mm,
a data mine. It's basically you put all this data in about yourself, and it's kind of invading of people's privacy, but it's what people want because they kind of exchange that for a partner at the end of the day. But yeah, they do track those things.
Well, I mean, it's not really quite invasion if you agree to the terms by uploading your own information for
Well,
that.
yeah,
So they're in for like, I mean, you have to. I mean, a lot of people kind of like saw the thing that pops up saying that you agree to,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
yeah.
For real, Claire, but
Um,
no one reads those terms and conditions.
no,
That's the
not
difference,
really.
right? So
Um,
yeah, so that's the thing about transparency as well. And I think Hinge does it a little bit better because when they try to update their policies, they have like really short UX copy that describes the
mhm,
policy, and you can like opt in or opt out of certain things, right? So
mhm,
when it comes to transparency, it's like, yeah, a lot can be done. So when people's privacy is exposed or leaked, which there's plenty of data leaks from dating apps and stuff like that. This stuff is like obviously illegal, whoever these hackers are, but your information is not safe, so it is kind of important for users to know how is my data being protected, what kind of information are they going to use in plain language, not in legal jargon that most people don't understand. So yeah. Anywho, I was off on a tangent. Sorry about that. Uh, so again, with these columns, we're trying to think outside of our usual solutions. So we found the problems with our solutions that it doesn't go far enough. It will, like, this pattern will continue to repeat if nothing changes. People's feelings are going to be hurt. So how can we change this? How can we change this so that we have better outcomes for our users? So we have one sticky note was a good idea, which is redirect a person to a higher quality match. And we could do higher quality matches through what we kind of discussed. Whoops. I'm gonna put a sticky note here. Whoops. Damn. Miro is just bugging me out today. There we go. So how can we make this higher quality match? So we're matching users based on what are some kind of key attributes? It's got to be user input, right? So it's got to be based on what the user wants in a person,
it
right?
can be input. It can be like user behavior pattern. Like one of the
Mm.
best example is like based on like the interaction, like the clicks and the tapping of like a specific photo,
Mhm.
um and or like how like a lot of times they have like a lot of these like pre-made prompts, right? So if you tend to interact with like more of those prompts too,
Mm.
like they will probably gather those that put them into the same algorithm, and so you'll be sorted with like matching with people that are like in with similar user behavior.
Mhm.
I'm kind of like thinking like maybe the algorithm is the problem. Just like playing devil's advocate, like maybe it's like you would get matched with someone similar, or you have the option to like roll the dice and have it be like a total gamble. And then maybe that's more like do you know what I mean? Like the algorithm knows what you want to some degree, but sometimes as humans we don't really know what we want.
Oh,
So this could be
yeah.
an opportunity to like change it.
That's really interesting because I was talking to this guy on Discord who is also like an entrepreneur, and he wanted to create a dating app that was sort of like Reddit. And I was talking to him about how I met someone that I ended up dating through chat roulette, which is risky, but the idea of having a randomized person to talk to that's available to talk to helps you to break away from certain stereotypes and patterns in your behavior because another thing I forgot to mention in the intro, the book Dataclysm, it goes on about it really well, which is sometimes people make decisions in dating apps that are based on stereotypes. So, for example, if you're a guy and you're under 5'5", uh, they tend to lie about their age so that more women will get responses. Now, if you were forced to talk to someone who might not be your ideal, and you find out that you actually have a lot more in common. You know, you can have a genuine connection. So instead of maybe forcing people to like pick people based on some arbitrary things about what they like about each other, like, oh, do you like anime or this type of music? Like, okay, I guess I'll talk to you. How about talk to a stranger? Because I think that's somewhat missing in dating apps is what if you had to get to know someone without leading in with some stereotypes that would force you to like reject them. But of course, not everyone's gonna like that. Some people are just like, no, I don't want to talk to this person. They look bad or they think they're ugly or something like that. You know, there are certain stereotypes that are just like not possible to change. But I like that idea of randomizing things. We could try it. I mean, it's an idea. So I'm just gonna put it down. So random eyes matches. Oh wait, how is this gonna happen? Can you repeat what you said before?
I was kind of just going off of like after like if we were to redirect, like giving people like an option of like trying something new or
Oh, okay. So redirecting the person to a higher quality match through a randomization, right?
yeah, like either random or just like kind of based on their data. So like giving the user the choice.
Okay, okay. I like that. That makes sense. And perhaps maybe if their profile isn't complete, maybe that could also be like a choice for them. Maybe it could be a hierarchy of choice. Like if the user has more of a complete profile, maybe they'll be matched with someone who's higher quality. Because if the user is new to the app and they've just been ghosted, it's like, you know, they might have only talked to like one or two people on the app. How can we really give them a good choice, right? It would more be. I think it would be closer to being random than it is to being very specific because we just don't have enough data for it. So I think that makes sense. I don't know what you think, Claire.
Can you repeat the last part again? I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, sorry. I think it should be random based on
Mhm.
how new the user is and how complete their profile is. Because if the user
Um,
has not made many matches, like they just haven't been talking to a lot of people and they're not active on the match, you're gonna have weak data to support giving them a high quality match. It might end up being just random, right? So I think random would make sense as a choice for redirect for new users or people without a complete profile.
yeah, I agree. Um, I think it's an interesting concept because we always have some kind of unconscious bias
Mm-hmm.
that we have on like our preferences, but I think in that way if we do want to make this into a solution, hypothetically speaking, that we have to kind of sort of like do reverse like algorithm in a way. So if let's say maybe a more like brief explanation, it's like if these people enjoy outdoor, maybe you can find someone that enjoys being indoor too, and see if they can mix and match and see how that goes. Um, Someone more of a city person, maybe someone that lives in the suburb, maybe let's say if it's in New York City and somewhere in New Jersey, it's still pretty close enough. Maybe they can
Yeah.
test it out and see how it goes to be, city and suburb like, thing. So yeah, I think it would be a very cool thing, but definitely needs a bit more
Yeah, yeah, like not
Users might
completely
say.
random. Like we don't want to like hook
Right.
someone up with someone in Afghanistan, for example. It's like, okay, like
Mm,
if you're in New York and someone's in Afghanistan, there's reasons why
of
you
course.
can't make that relationship work. It's just too complicated visas. But yeah, like randomize based on like very broad pieces of information. Um, Location is one of them.
Hmm.
Like we could like obviously they at any time that you're exposed to matches, it's based on like who's in your area and who's most active and who's online, right?
Hmm.
Um, so it could be randomized based on that rather than purely random, as in from the whole network. Like no, 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 wouldn't do that. But again, it would be based on the information that people put in on their profile. So we could just do this based on location and some needs and wants of what a person is. Like this person has to, I don't know, be educated, or this person has to be a fan of Seinfeld because you're crazy about it.
Hmm.
Cool. So we're about 25 minutes in, so this is good. Oh wait, I set this for 30 minutes and it says 45. Ah, it's okay. We'll do 45. Uh, we'll get as much done here today, and if we find that we've covered enough ideas, we'll just call it early, and then we'll we'll um we'll move on. So I think for this one, do we have any lingering ideas that we want to say?
I was well for this sort of like redirecting ideas that we're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
Oh, okay. No, I'm good.
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep all these sticky notes here because I think they are pretty awesome. Like this will help you to design new features in the next week. Oh, there's some messages. I missed it in the chat. Claire, did you see them?
The last two.
Yeah.
There could be connections based on interest. Okay. They might be different but compatible. Oh, okay. We talked about that earlier. And then the panelized frequent ghoster was interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I thought of that idea once before.
Mm-hmm.
This is when we started this design sprint idea. I'm like, I had this idea of what if ghosting was like more like Snapchat, where every time you ghost, you get like a point. Not necessarily to gamify it to say, hey, if you have the highest points, you win, but more like the lowest points. It kind of gives the user who's interacting with that person a sense of, oh, how likely is this person going to date me? Maybe I won't be invested, or maybe I will be careful or cautious. You know, it might prepare users beforehand, but it could also have like negative downsides as well. Dating profile eruptions. Oh, disruptions. Okay, yeah, that would be radical. I mean,
Oh,
I
they
what?
didn't promote reputation.
Oh,
Oh, are you talking about
reputation.
like a score system? Like if they are always active, they
Oh,
respond
mm.
like all the time. They get like a I don't know, like a 4 star. I don't know. I think we talked. Didn't we talk about this before too? No,
Yes,
like
we
I feel like we
did.
talked about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. It's interesting. I'll put it down here for now because it like it's probably going to be problematic, but why not just test it on users and see what they say? You know, better. Why not,
Hmm.
right? Like this is an area for you to try out your ideas. So why not just try these ideas and see what it works, how it works, and whether people have like any kind of good or bad ideas, reactions to it. So dating score. This is sort of related to your reputation. Sorry, I read that wrong. Okay. See, so this is basically what opposite thinking does. It kind of helps to reduce bias in a way because it forces you to think of the opposite. Because often when creative people try to come up with ideas, they think, "Oh, I have a great solution. It's gonna work. Everyone's gonna like it," and they find out, "Oh, actually, it didn't work, and there were a bunch of problems that." Uh, actually existed that weren't really acknowledged by the designer who was thinking of it. So this will help. This kind of activity kind of helps us to keep those things in mind when coming up with ideas. Um, so let's see the time. It's 1:44 p.m., Claire. I know we started a little bit late.
Mhm.
Um, I'm thinking, should we leave the activity that we've done here and move on, or should we move on to the next row and just go a little bit over time by like 20 minutes?
Um, because after this, what do we have? We just need to introduce the assignment for next,
Yeah, we would have,
right? 'Cause everyone's gonna be in the same group because we
yeah,
have the same group.
basically, everyone's going to be in the same group, so it won't even matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
guess we'll,
yeah, I think
mhm.
we can do one more. I think yeah, but we
Yeah, let's,
can go a bit faster.
yeah, okay. So next we're going to do another assumption. So this is defining another problem that we think the user has. It could have been from our brainstorming. It could have been something that you just thought of right now. But we've already done the single people don't like being ghosted. But what else is a problem that users faced on dating apps? So singles don't like being ghosted. So with our solutions here, what do we talk about? Matching. How about profiles? Or would that be straying away? Because I was thinking about, like, I don't know, whether it's likely a ghoster will complete their profile or not. Like, there are some real catfish people out there that are kind of suspicious and they leave incomplete profiles, and it just gives people the sense that they're not real people. But then maybe I'm just
I don't
focusing
know.
on
Like
too
I've
many.
always had a complete profile and ghosted, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's like very common, and it's like yeah, catfishing and ghosting might be two
Yeah.
different things.
I still think it's somewhat related because it does end up being ghosting, and this is something that is preventable. So, if we're going to think about ghosting, we might think about who is doing the ghosting. Is it a real person or a fake person, right? So, yeah. There's another text here. It says, question for those that are on dating apps. Do you enjoy putting your profile together, or is it a chore? Do you make it unique or generic? Sunny
Is
says
is
she
it
enjoys it.
yeah?
What did you say, Claire?
Oh, for me, I realized like it's like a strategy game. Um, so I would switch photos up and I would switch prompts up just to see what kind of people I attract. When I'm big, I notice like there are people more into basic profiles, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So when I put up like my more authentic side,
Mm-hmm.
not that I'm not authentic, but it's like a more
Mm-hmm.
authentic side. I mean, like I'm kind of nerdy.
Mm-hmm.
I love anime and then whatever, and then people just thought I'm like some kind of like nerd, and then they just kind of stay away. And then versus if I put something a bit more basic, like maybe like going out photos of myself, and then there will be more likes. So it's a bit of like it's a strategy game, and also depending on the location that you're at. So in the city, people are more shallow, I think. But if you're in somewhere that's
Mm.
more suburb, I think people are more authentic. That's just something
Mm.
that I noticed.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, in the book Dataclysm, there's lots of infographics. Even in the video as well, the guy who was the author of that book goes into a lot of the data and shows the infographics on it. But he did this one really creepy infographic about how people choose mates on dating apps, and it turns out that men, regardless of their age, they always seem to interact or send messages to 20-year-olds, women in their 20s, because that's what they see as more attractive, right? So it's so weird, but there's also a lot of stuff about race that's also a little bit uncomfortable, but like if you're a white dude, you're going to get more matches. If you're Asian, male or female, you're going to get completely different results. And it's wild how people make judgments very quickly based on how you look. And sort of like what you said, Claire, when it comes to shallowness, it's like if you're from the city and people look glamorous and they have this perfect, flawless look, they might be judging you based on that. And that seems a little bit unfair. Like, not everyone can afford plastic surgery and to look like Kim Kardashian. Give people a chance, right? But no, sometimes that's what people want. Like follows like. So if someone wants a shallow person, like why should we stop them from getting what they want, right? Um so when it comes to this assumption now, cuz we kind of went on a tangent. I was going to lead this sticky note with focusing on who the users are, like who is doing the ghosting, cuz so far we're focused on ghosting being real people. Well, ghosters are real people, right? But even real people can make fake accounts. So maybe we could also think about that as well, because that could be the angle that we could take with this assumption. So ghosters are real people. That's an assumption, right? We could say they're always real people, and we think that that is pretty much a done deal case. Now the opposite of that is ghosters are real people in disguise. So it's sort of like what you said about authenticity, Claire. Maybe I should change real with like authentic. So ghosters are real authentic people, and then the opposite of that is ghosters are real people but in disguise, or they're falling behind a false image.
I feel like in terms of what we can do from a design perspective, I think we can try maybe like kind of like what they have on Bumble. It's like they have to verify their
Yes.
accounts.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's like yeah, like it's like social media and account, or even like phone number verification.
Yeah, I think
So
with
that way, yeah,
Bumble, they have verification where you take a selfie. So you have to take a selfie of yourself doing something. They'll give you an instruction like do a peace
yeah,
sign, so they know that it's you, right?
right,
So
yeah.
we could do that. I think that would be beneficial. So photo verification, and then what else? Did you say like ID verification?
Um, no, it's more like social media. So if you have like a like Instagram and Facebook, uh, connected and verified, um, then that way it's like a one step to prove that you're an
Mm,
actual human being, not like a bot, you know,
right. Okay.
or maybe a catfish profile.
Mm.
Oh, so
Tinder
Sunny
used to
said,
show
yeah, use
mutuals.
social mutuals. Um, oh, so they don't do that anymore? Again, I have not been using Tinder.
Yeah, I haven't used Tinder in a while. I don't even know what it looks like anymore.
I'm also thinking about like how for coffee meets bagel,
Mm.
they also have like they one of their feature is actually tend to match you with people that you share like mutual friends with.
Mm.
So that was like another one that could sort of fall into the
Oh,
authenticating part, just
yes.
because you know a person that knows that person. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously that's one step like safer
Mm.
and yeah, in my opinion.
I think that's good because one of the main things that I've learned uh, about why ghosting happens, like I've read articles and stuff like that, and basically, let's just say the more social connections that you have, the least likely it is to be ghosted because of that social pressure. That if you know someone who knows someone, if you ghost them and you hurt their feelings, they're gonna talk to you, or sorry, they're gonna talk to their friends about you, right? So if there is that little social connection, there's that reminder of like, hey, if you did something crazy with this person, got really drunk and wild and did some crazy stuff, uh, the friendship group is gonna know about it. So you're probably less likely to go out and do those things. Now that's not I don't think that's provable, but this was just an idea that I came across. So it is quite interesting how people's behavior can be modified depending on who is around, right? If this
Mm.
person has no connection to you, you could ghost them tomorrow and it won't matter because news is not going to come around that you're a really mean person, right? So I think it has something to do with like the dating score reputation. It's just the idea of reputation can also happen within social groups. Um, Right. So the next column. Oh wait, there's some more text here. Tinder-based mutuals on Facebook. It was pretty inaccurate.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because to be fair, I have a lot of people on Facebook that aren't even friends. Like, they're just companies. Like, my friends sometimes have companies and they just build a Facebook page for their company. And then there's some people who are like DJs and promoters that I used to work with. Like, I don't personally know them, but if someone, like, I've used Facebook dating before and they've kind of like recommend matches based on um, close personal friendships, but most of the people aren't even close network friends, like people that I even know. So sometimes that social pressure thing, it doesn't matter. Like, if you don't know the person and they're on Facebook, it means very little sometimes. But yeah, that leads us for our next column, which is to think again, to think about how each and every one of these solutions that we've come up with could potentially fail. So for social media verification, right off the bat, I would just say people can have fake lives on social media, right? Like, maybe they're a real person, yes, but if they're catfishing people by using the same consistent photograph on all their profiles, that they can get away with it. So definitely, the social media profiles could also be fake. And then, do we have any other opposites for the solutions, like photo verification? How could that go wrong?
Um.
I guess the user could just like not do it, right? If there's nothing pressuring them to get verified, then the user could just choose not to verify.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then what else? Shared mutual friends. I just said it there. Like, it could also
Mhm.
be fake mutual friends, not necessarily fake, but like mutual friends of like acquaintances, or they're not actual close friends, like people that you actually know. Um,
Mhm.
is there anything else that we could think of? Nah, we only have like a
Yeah,
few
I think we
minutes left.
could.
Let's move on
Yeah, I
to
think
the
we could.
next.
Like, yep.
Yeah. So let's innovate these ideas then. Um, so if the social media profiles could be found as fake and the verification step for that doesn't work out, what can we do to resolve that? I've seen this before, but on Facebook dating, you could actually report a suspicious profile. So if someone's user profile looks fake, like a low resolution, like profile picture, and there's a bunch of photographs of people that look similar but they're not the same person, or during conversation, if you find that this person's asking you for your credit card details, you might want to report it, and it's done anonymously. So it might not solve the verification problem because anyone can get verified through social media, but at least it helps, I guess, customer service or uh, whatever security team is on this project. Let's say if it was a real company, um, they would be able to shut down someone's account or at least investigate it and see if it's a problem. So I mean, that's an idea. So reporting uh, fake. But then how would that happen? I guess it depends, right? Like, if we this is the thing that we're also having to keep in step here, is all these shifting things like privacy. Can someone see someone's social media profile um, through our app? Or is it just telling you, hey, they're on Facebook, but there's no way to actually look at this person's Facebook?
I think we should definitely keep the transparency of if they say they have like an account, then whoever people can see the pictures that are connected on their account,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
like sort of keeping like how Tinder, is it Tinder? No, keeping how Bumble and I think Hinge are like the way they're doing it. Um,
So I guess we can think about it like this. If the profile looks suspicious after they've been verified, that's still an option. Because even if someone bypasses the verification system for social media, they link it and then they have all the same photos or whatever, that's okay. Because if you're viewing the Instagram photos only on that person's profile, it doesn't take you to Instagram. So at least that keeps people safe in a sense that they're not going to be like stalked by someone and unwanted messages on their Instagram. So I guess this could happen after the verification. So if someone's profile is just sus, um, we could still weed away people who are using fake social media accounts uh, to get an account with the dating profile. Does that make sense?
mm-hmm.
Okay, so reporting fake and suspicious dating profiles, because sometimes people slip through the cracks. Most people are honest, and then some people are just fake, and there should be a way to find the fake profiles and get rid of them. So let's think of another solution very quickly, because it's about 2 o'clock, and as soon as we finish this, I think that'll be good. We've covered like a bulk of what we need to know. So
Mm-hmm.
let me just finish this thought about how can we update and resolve these sticky notes. So we have a sticky note here that says mutual matches are not actual close friends. So what can we do about that? We haven't heard from Mandy or Sunny in a while, and Nicole. It was just me and Claire talking back and forth. So let's hear from the rest of our participants. What do you think
Mm-hmm.
we could do about um, photo verification, social media verification? We highlighted that things can go wrong. So how can we make it go right?
I guess you could like require to verify. I'm not sure if I like that idea, but that's one way.
Oh, yeah. So with photo verification, I don't know which dating app does this, but it could be Hinge, it could be Bumble, but your profile doesn't go live until you verify. So you can make an account, you could edit it, you could do whatever you want, but then you won't be able to get matches until you get photo verification. Um,
I
but
like the require references too. That's interesting.
require references. Okay, we could say both of those. It feels like a job interview, but yeah,
Or it's like your Uber
or your
rating kind of
besties,
thing.
or your besties, right? It could be a requirement or an option, because if you don't have a bestie, we don't want to limit people who are already lonely. It's an option, yeah. And then we also have what did I say? Profile doesn't go live right away until verification, because I think a lot of harm can be done if someone is not verified and they just start texting dozens and dozens of women and harassing them. That's a problem. And I think that's happened on Bumble before. I heard crazy things about Bumble. So even though that's a female friendly, female first app, a lot of craziness can go on if you just let anyone use it. So verification is super important. Users need to feel safe, and we need to keep it safe as well. I mean, preventing the user from getting what they want is like problematic, but then we also have to manage like what if this person is just gonna create a fake account and then harass women and send dick pics. That can't happen either. So yeah, photo verification can be a thing that a user has to do, maybe at a certain time. Maybe they could be live for like the first day, for example. But then if they don't verify within 2 days or 3 days, you stop getting matches just to prevent you from abusing the platform. Do we have any more ideas about how we can innovate? I guess that's it. Yeah, because I think this was like a really good exercise. I don't know what you think, but like there was more thoughts and ideas that could come from this. Um, we will be back next week. Should we cancel or postpone? Let's hope it doesn't reach to that. Um, we would we wouldn't be able to run this event again actually. So let's think about it like this. Um, for next week, if it's possible, do you think you'd be able to invite a friend to join you and to get a they could also get a free ticket to our design sprint? Because one thing I'm really concerned about is if we have to cancel due to low turnout. So I'm wondering if this could be an excellent opportunity to offer you guys a very special deal where if you want to maybe bring some of your friends on for week 2, we'll be able to have more of a hackathon style uh, sketching Crazy Eights demo. You could probably bring someone, Maddie? That's great. Awesome. Okay. So that will be your homework for next week. Refer a friend. Just give me their email address and I could send them a ticket. That way, for next week, we'll have a bigger turnout and we'll be able to facilitate the activities for next week. But also, you could use this mural board as a reference when you decide to build your prototype to present for week 3. Week 3, we've asked a guest professional UX designer named Carl. He was also a mentor for Claire. He's a really good guy. He loves helping out junior designers. Should you come back on week 3 to show your hi-fi or high fidelity prototype, that would be an opportunity for you to get feedback and reiterate on the design. But use this whole mural board. You can jump back to this anytime if you forget what you're doing. If you need prompts on what our focus is, you can find out what our hypothesis is, just to remind yourself of what we're doing. And yeah,
How
I
would
think
we
that.
get to the mural board? Um,
Oh yeah, I'll send you an email with a link
okay,
to join. Okay,
great. Thank you.
no problem. Other than that, I think we're good. Any questions for me and Claire, just about the whole event, about week 2, or anything else? Nope. Okay, great. So that concludes our design sprint. So thank you for attending. It was a little bit of a smaller turnout, but hopefully we'll have more people for next week and we'll give them all free tickets as well.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you
Have a
for
good
coming.
weekend. Bye bye.